Hey everyone, welcome back. As part of our Spring Batch modules, today is the session 4. Okay, till now we completed 3 sessions. Out of the 3 sessions, detailed discussion we successfully completed on about the job repository, what is job launcher, and what is a job, and importance of a step. Till here, successfully we completed all the theory sessions here. In today's session, let me discuss about the item reader. Okay, so why we need item reader, how many ways we can read the data, what are the types we have. Okay, please watch till end of the video, you will get the complete information. In today's session, main importance is item reader here, guys. Next session we'll discuss about item processor, and then we'll discuss about item writer. We divided into 3 sessions. First, let me start about the reading. Okay, so as you know, Spring Batch means to bulk update or bulk delete anything. It's kind of a bulk operation. Okay, as part of Spring Batch architecture, this is our overview of the architecture. Now let me start about the item reader. Basically, item reader is a interface. Okay, it is used to read data from a source. If you want to read the data at a time, only once you can read the data here. Okay, once you read the data from the source, and you can feed it into the batch processing pipeline. Okay, like we have a pipeline: reading, writing, reading, processing, and writing. The first step, reading, means item reader. This is a interface. At a time, one record or an item at a time, you can able to forward the data. Means, two, what are the various operations to can read the data. Means, to fetch the data from various sources like CSV file, Excel file. In terms of the files, like this is for the file reading, and you can read the data from database like by using JDBC or by using JPA, and you can read the data from XML or JSON also, and you can read the data from APIs or the queues from the Kafka system. I want to read the data, then I want to process and publish. Wherever you want, you can read the data. But the point is, at a time, you can read data from a single source here. Here, how many sources we have? Either file, either from database, either from XML or JSON data, either from another API or from the messaging broker. These are all kind of a different types of sources we have. Okay, whenever you are reading, like example, you have a CSV file. At a time, only one record I can read the data from the file, and I will read the data, then I will publish to the item processor here. If you have 100 records, means 100 times it will be execute your reader, processor, and writer here. And here we will follow some chunk oriented system that already we discussed in the last session when we discuss about the step here. Okay, now here, as part of the interface definition, how it will be. Now if you see, this is the interface T. The T represents your type, what kind of record you are reading the information. So you need a model class is required, like a product information, user information, customer information. In e-commerce file, like a customer, users, orders, products, it can be any model class here. And here we have a method called read method here. Usually this read method is called repeatedly by the Spring Batch until it returning the null. That means in CSV file, you have 100 records here. So 100 times this read method will be executed, and whenever you got a null value like 101, I don't have any information, so it will return the null. That means it is saying that file end of the file is completed, end of database table information is completed. It signals end of the data here. That is about the item reader. This is a interface, that's it. Implementation class we need to write. The implementations will be completely different from reading the file, fetching data from database, wherever you want. Just simply implementations are different here, but we are discussing on the batch, so we need to follow these protocols to read the data from, okay, either file, either database, either queues here. Hope you got some clear picture about what is item reader. Okay, now what is the processor? Whenever you start a job will start the step, right? Now step execution is started. Inside a step, I have three components. The first component called item reader. The Spring batch will call read method repeatedly from the item reader. So each record it will read and it will forward the data to item processor here. When you see, when no more records, read returns the null value, then step proceed to commit the chunk. As part of the step, in the last session we discussed, right, as part of the step we given chunk as 3, 4 or 5. 3 times the data will be called 3 times. Once 3 times is completed, then the step will do the commit operation here. When 3 times read is success means 3 times read is success, process and writing. When 3 records are successfully completed, so step will maintain the commit and the commit the chunk information, means successfully data will be stored into the database here. That means all the operations are success. That is the meaning of item reader. This is the process how it is working here. In terms of the diagrammatic approach, for your understanding, this is your data source, item reader, processor, item writer. Next, read the item, transform the data and save the data. So the input file is here, either CSV file, either database, either XML, either API. It can be anything. So what are the common implementations of the item reader? If you are performing means, like Spring Batch is supporting multiple item readers, predefined classes are available here. In your use case, which is required in your use case, you need to utilize that particular activity. So if you see, when you are discussing, when you are developing based on the file you want to read the data, so you can go for either CSV file or text file or anything. Then I should go flat file item reader. This is the class I should utilize to read the data. Suppose you are using database, you want to read the data from database, then you can use JDBC cursor item reader. It will read data from the cursor. Okay, you are using JPA entities from database specific, then you can use JPA paging item reader. Means if you have 1 lakh records, I don't want to pull 1 lakh records at one shot. By following the pagination, I want to retrieve 10 records, 20 records, 30 records by reading the data using the pagination. When you have this kind of use case, you should use JPA paging item reader here. So this is kind of a item readers concept here. Now, if you are using XML, your source is XML, someone is giving a input to a some XML data. So to read your XML data, we can use stacks event item reader. So this is the reader you should utilize. Now you have a big file, a big JSON data you have. You want to pull the data from JSON, means if you want to read a JSON file, then you can use JSON item reader. If you are using Mongo database, then a Mongo item reader. If you are using messaging systems for Kafka or JMS, then you can use Kafka item reader or JMS item reader here. This is kind of a messaging brokers. And we have a reading from in memory. If you are using in memory, you want to read some data for testing or kind of a demo purpose, you can use list item reader here. So these are all kind of a different types of item readers we have, guys. Okay, anyway, as part of our exercise, we will try to perform all the activities. Okay, and these sessions, implementation sessions, will be available in our website, like batch 41 sessions we have there. You can able to see also here, guys, implementations here. So if you are good at the theory, na, implementation is dead easy for you guys. Okay, now for sample, I want to show you two types of readers, one for the flat file item reader, another for the JDBC cursor. Both, let me show you a few examples here. Suppose I want to create a bean object of a type item reader. So item reader is a interface. The implementation class is flat file item reader. So you need to create this bean object. What I am doing? So by using a builder design pattern, I am providing some name called product reader. Some name I given. Your source, your file should be there some location, either C drive, D drive, F drive, or in your class path, wherever you have. Just you can read the data from the class path. As per this image, you can able to see I am pulling your CSV file from the class path resource here. Okay, and you have a delimited operation, like a limited, like a comma, underscore, some kind of a delimiter will be there. So for that purpose, just I given as a delimited. And inside a CSV file, you need a headers information, what data you are providing. So you need to provide the names. So inside my CSV file, I have a name, description, price, and stock by comma separated I have. So inside enum, I have a product names, product descriptions, price, and stocks I have. So I want to match to a entity class, a model class. I want to match the target type I am using as a product dot class here. So these names and should be matched with product dot class. And inside this CSV file, this whole information should be there here. So in this way, you can read the data here. How the linking will be happen, reader, processor, writer, that as part of the lab exercise we can able to see as well. So this is about the flat file item reader creating the bean object here. Same pattern you can perform like a JDBC, JPA, or Kafka. Based on your use case, whichever you want, you can implement also here. This is one example to read the data from the CSV file of a type is a product. Okay, now next, JDBC. You want to read the data from the database, so I should use JDBC cursor item reader. This is a implementation class, and to read the data from database, you need a data source object is required. So I should auto wire your data source. And data source means if you provide the data source, it will understand, okay, we have our data like database username, password, which database you are connecting, the complete information available in the data source, and which data you want to pull from the database. See here, so I'm doing a select query. Suppose in your database you have some hundreds of records you have. I want to retrieve the name, description, price, and stock. You should not use the star. If you are using the star means it should match with your entity class as well. So whichever columns you want, just you can write your SQL query here. and it's a row mapper. So these column names should be matched with the product.class of bean property row mapper here. So row mapper is mandatory to match inside your file. You are using target type directly I'm using, but in database I should use as a row mapper to match this information to your product class. Then you are building here. This is the how you can write JDBC cursor item reader here in this approach here. Now, if you see overall summary point, if you want to read data from one at a time, item reader, object of type any entity, when it will be reading process will be completed when you are returning as a null. Common implementations are flat file, JDBC, JPA, JSON used in step chunk oriented processing. Like as I already told, 100 records, 3 records I want to commit till complete flow, like that. And it will be paired with item processor and item writer. Without these two classes, reading operation no use at all, right? So this is the how your item reader will work in this Spring Batch, okay, architecture here. So next session we'll discuss about item processor, guys. Okay, thank you.